Hi, my name is Nicole. Welcome to my channel, Travel to Money. In this video, I will tell you about the top 3 places I would recommend for long-term travel. I'll tell you what I love about them, why they make good long-term destinations. I'll talk about the cost and more. If you are new here, I have created this channel to help you learn about how to travel, adventure, and have fun on the road to financial independence. I have traveled the world, paid off a house in Spain, and I've made big moves toward financial independence. I believe that the road to financial freedom can and should be fun. I hope that you'll subscribe and join me on this journey, no matter where you are starting from. I have had the pleasure of traveling the world a few times for long periods of time. Earlier in my life, I had only taken short vacations to places like Paris, Aruba, the Bahamas, and had also been on mission trips to places like Haiti and Iraq. First, I would like to note that I still pinch myself when I get to go to a new place. As U.S. citizens, travel for many of us seems so normal, but sometimes it can be easy to forget just how lucky we are. Many people in the world never have the opportunity to experience another country, and it's not often by choice. I have such an explorer personality, and I can't imagine being stuck for all of life without being able to have the joys of experiencing another culture. Although COVID has certainly given us all a taste of what it means to be held in one place, hopefully it gives those of us who have travel opportunities an appreciation for the wonderful gift we've been given and makes us more inclined to steward that gift in ways that help others toward those same freedoms. Well, let's get started with number 3 on my list, Greece. I have been to Athens and the island of Rhodes twice. I suppose I've spent more time in Greece than anywhere else in the world other than Spain and the US. So here are the reasons why I would recommend Greece for a long-term travel destination. First is the cost. Greece can be a great budget destination. During my time in Athens and on the island of Rhodes, I always had very inexpensive Airbnb accommodations. For a private apartment, I never paid more than around $650 per month, and that includes all of the utilities and Wi-Fi. When staying in Athens, everything was walkable and public transportation was easily available if needed. On the island of Rhodes, car rentals were necessary, but were also very inexpensive. The next item could also fit into the cost category, and that is the food. I think the food in Greece is probably my favorite in the world. This could also have to do with the fact that I'm a vegetarian, and having the most delicious feta in the world with almost every meal is a real treat.
Try them.
This is our favorite hummus in the world. It's smoked like barbecue, and we're gonna eat all of it. Hummus, pistachio ice cream, spanakopita, and Greek salad for days with the best Kalamata olives. The food is very reasonably priced. I also did a lot of cooking at home after buying fresh fruits and vegetables from local markets. When I was on the island of Rhodes during my first visit, I met up with a couch surfer who took me for dinner, and I had a Cretan salad that is basically a Greek salad with barley bread pieces in it. It was definitely one of the best salad experiences I've ever had. He told me not to order it back on the mainland of Greece because it wouldn't be as good. I got back to Athens and ordered it anyway. I was bummed because he was right. It wasn't the same. I'm guessing it would be just as good in Crete, which is where the dish originated from. The last thing is language. Now, obviously, I don't mean that anything in Greek is easy. But because Greek is such a difficult language, almost everyone in tourist areas will be able to speak English. Greece is one of the few places where I don't believe I learned a single word in Greek. Having a different alphabet just makes it incredibly difficult. It's probably the biggest differentiator in long-term travel and permanent living for me. I would highly recommend long-term travel to Greece, but I'm not sure I could recommend permanent living in a place where the language would be so difficult to learn. Although I'm sure many expats live there that haven't learned the Greek language. Okay, let's move on to number 2, Bali, Indonesia. I would love to say the whole country of Indonesia, but I haven't visited the rest of Indonesia, and I do believe that the people of Bali practicing the Hindu religion makes life a bit different than the rest of the country that practices Islam. For me, the main difference is in women's rights, and if I'm going to be comfortable somewhere for a long period of time, I'd prefer to be in a place that has great respect for women and where I won't be worried that I'm going to be offending the people with what I wear or my independence. I believe very strongly in showing respect to the culture of every place that I visit. I'm sure I haven't done this perfectly, but I like to have a posture of listening and learning. So if anyone has anything to teach me about the rest of Indonesia, I'd love to learn from your experiences. In many ways, Bali quickly became possibly my favorite place in the world. Here are some of the reasons why. The people of Bali were so kind, gracious, and seemed to be genuinely happy. They had a lovely pace to life, and I never saw a single local person that seemed to care about impressing anyone with what they had. They were humble, hospitable, and one of my favorite cultures to experience. Next was the food in Bali. Second to none, this is the place to be if you are vegetarian. It's not that they don't eat any meat, but vegetarian food is very popular and the variety was better than anywhere else I've been in the world. So this next one might not be for everyone, but driving a scooter throughout the island was one of the top experiences in my life. I always used to think that scooters look so dinky, especially compared to motorcycles. I was surprised to realize how heavy duty it felt to drive one. The wind in your hair, surrounded by lush beauty, the long, winding roads, I seriously could do that for the rest of my life. Now, it didn't come without its obstacles. I nearly killed my friend and I a couple of times. Nothing like that adrenaline rush. And I would yell every time I had to make a tight left turn. Ah! Hollering helps me to have courage in the middle of something I'm afraid of. I don't know why, it just works. Similar to Greece and really every place on this list, the cost was extremely low. Even in such a touristy area, I don't think I've ever paid so little to live so nicely. Now, the flights to get there and back are pricey, but that's why I think it's a great place to stay long term. I rented a 2-bedroom place for 2 weeks in Bali and only paid $322. This also includes a fresh breakfast every morning. We would just leave the front door to the place open, and 30 minutes later, there would be something like an omelet or French toast, and it would always be accompanied by fresh juice or a fresh smoothie. I'm telling you, this is living. We also rented a car and a scooter from the family that we rented the Airbnb from. They only charged us for each day that we would use either one. We used the scooter for trips within an hour of us and the car for trips to other cities. Keep in mind that they drive on the other side of the road like in the UK, and the cars are also stick shift, driving from what would usually be the passenger side in the US. It was a little tricky, but fun to learn. The next thing about Bali was the amount of outdoor adventures. When we planned the Bali trip, I imagined being at the beach the whole time. In reality, we only sat on the beach for an hour during the entire 2 weeks. Instead, our time was filled with hiking mountains, canyoning waterfalls, incredible hikes, mild whitewater rafting, and more waterfalls to visit than I could have ever imagined. There are some amazing infinity pools to visit, and the whole place is just one big adventure waiting to happen. I had no idea what it would have in store, but I fell in love with this little island. Bali is a place I can't wait to visit again, and the next time for at least a few months. It was hard for me to decide if I would make it number 2 or number 1 on this list. It's probably a tie. With that said, let's move on to number 1 on my list, Spain. As you probably know, if you've watched many of my videos, I am the happy owner of a house in Spain, and I'm even planning to buy 2 more houses there in the next couple of months. For multiple reasons, including high taxes and a not so easy process of residency, I may not end up selecting Spain for a retirement destination or for permanent living, but it is probably my favorite place to visit on a long-term basis. Yes, some of this is because it has become home, but it is also for all of the following reasons that I think anyone can appreciate. First, the vibe. Now, every region in Spain is different. I have traveled to many of them, but these cities each have an amazing vibe. I have spent the most time in Valencia, and I can tell you that I have never met a people so full of life and joy as in this region. It seems like every week there is something to celebrate. Music, fireworks, and just a lot of happy people. The cost of Spain is very reasonable in general. I usually don't pay more than $200 or $300 for a one-way ticket to get there from Florida. Plus, you have lots of international airport options from Madrid, Valencia, Alicante, Barcelona, and that's probably not even all of them. The accommodations are always affordable on Airbnb. I found 20 different locations in Spain offering private apartments or rentals for less than $506 per month. That's hard to beat. Also, I've never found car rentals as cheap as I have from the Valencia or Alicante airports. I have heard that prices might be higher now since the rental companies have sold off cars during COVID, but most of my car rentals there were for less than $1 per day. Did you hear that? Less than $1 per day. The food is also very reasonably priced and is the next reason I love staying in Spain long term. In Valencia, the paella is famous, and for me, I find a lot of great vegetarian paella options. Sangria in Spain is the way to go for a drink. If you are a meat eater, they are famous for their Iberian ham. I find that the further away you go from the cities, the cheaper the meals when going out to eat. Much like Greece, there are great markets to purchase fresh fruits and vegetables that are locally sourced and some of the best tasting I've ever had. The weather is next. The climate in Spain is mild with beautiful temperatures that support a whole lot of outdoor activity. The hiking is second to none, and if you are into cycling, this is also the place to be. Mountains and beaches are yours for the taking. Lastly, I also think that Spanish is a fairly easy language to pick up on. If you are in the cities, there will be plenty of people who speak English, but you can also take a stab at ordering your food or your coffee in Spanish after being there for just a short period of time. I hope to visit Spain many more times over the span of my life, and maybe I'll even live there one day. If you are interested in more about Spain, buying houses there, renovating, or just general travel, be sure to check out my other videos. I hope that you've learned something new here today, and that maybe this has inspired you to plan your next trip. What are your favorite places for long-term travel? Tell me about it in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to join me where travel and adventure build financial freedom. I can't wait to see where your dreams will take you.